whenever we have an issue that we need to discuss, we will call on people like Wilfred and people like Peter to discuss the issues, to see how they feel we should take the matters forward. And it is about that partnership which Robin referred to that makes Northern Ireland a little bit different. People, when they come in to look at Northern Ireland as a place to invest in, sometimes don't just get the fact that they do have access to the government in the way in which our businesses have here. And I was speaking to somebody last night and they were saying in England they just cannot believe that access to ministers is so free and available in Northern Ireland. But that's something we're very proud of, but it's also a strength because it means that we can have the interchange that we do have. So thank you for your support, particularly in issues which we're pushing at present, not least corporation tax, and I'll say a little bit about that later, but on all of the other issues as well. And I wanted to talk this morning briefly, and it will be brief because I'll be speaking later on in the main hall. I did want to speak briefly this morning about threats and opportunities that we face and challenges that we face in the coming year. And of course, for us to do our job and for me to do my job in conjunction with Alistair Hamilton, who at present is in Brazil, searching out those new and emerging markets for all of you. And Alistair does a tremendous job. And sometimes I get a little bit cross in the Assembly when people criticise Alistair for no reason, because I know the commitment, the dedication he has to Northern Ireland, and he does take his job so seriously, and he wants to make a difference for the people of Northern Ireland. So he's out there at present looking at new and emerging markets. But one of the things that Alistair needs when he talks to companies is tools. He needs tools in his box to attract people to invest in Northern Ireland. And we've talked for a long time about corporation tax, and I know people get a little bit frustrated that it is taking so long. Let me assure you, it's not us that's holding back on this issue. We very much want to see it brought to a conclusion, because apart from anything else, we need certainty and stability. We need to be able to go to people and to say the tax rate is going to be what I believe it should be, 10%, and that we can drive things forward from there. The Prime Minister has been given the report of the Joint Ministerial Working Group. I heard somebody on the radio the other day saying the Executive have handed over their report to the Prime Minister. Of course, it's not just our report. It is a report which has come together out of joint workings between Northern Ireland ministers, between Sammy, myself, First and Deputy First Minister, and Treasury ministers and the Northern Ireland Office. So it's a joint report, and that report has now gone to the Prime Minister. And really it is now a political decision as to whether he believes that this part of the United Kingdom should be given that tool to drive the economy into a place where we all want it to be. And I have said on many occasions that I believe if we have the tool of corporation tax, then Northern Ireland, instead of relying on subvention from Westminster, can actually start to contribute to the United Kingdom Treasury, and I think that would be a tremendous place for us to be. And I know that Scotland has been thrown up as the big challenge in all of this, but I do have to say that I think that that is a bit of a red herring, because the Scottish nationalists are looking for independence. Why would they be concerned about whether we get some more devolution or not? In fact, I would argue that the central government should be saying we are prepared, when a very firm argument is made, a very strong argument is made, to look at more devolution for the regions around the United Kingdom, and we have been able to do that in Northern Ireland. So instead of looking for independence, you should be arguing with us about what more powers can be devolved to Scotland. So hopefully we'll be able to overcome all of those political discussions in the near future, so that we can have certainty in relation to corporation tax. But one of the other tools that Alistair has in his box, and I did want to mention it here today because it's one that people don't really talk about a lot, because it's a European issue and a difficult one for some people to understand, and that is the issue of regional aid. And I go to Brussels in the near future. Diane has arranged a meeting for me, and it's a point I want to make in relation to the party structure around this issue. on regional aid to meet the Commissioner, because the Department for Business Innovation and Science in Westminster, under Vince Cable, have decided that regional aid should not cover the entirety of Northern Ireland, and we should have a reduction in the amount of regional aid here. Now, that is very concerning, because at the moment the only tool that Alistair has in many occasions is regional aid. And if we lose the ability to offer that regional aid right across Northern Ireland, then that will hamper us, particularly if we don't have the tool of corporation tax. And I do want to thank my colleagues at Westminster and indeed Diane in Europe for the way in which we've been able to work together as a coherent team to try and deal with this issue. And there's not another party in Northern Ireland that can do that, because no other party have representatives at Westminster, Europe, and in the position that we're in the Assembly. So I have been working with David Simpson and colleagues. David's leading on this issue for me in Westminster, and indeed Diane in Europe, to try and say we need to keep the tool of regional aid for Northern Ireland until at least we know what's happening in and around corporation tax. There's no point in taking away all of our tools, and I know Kate Barker, who chairs my economic advisory group, feels very strongly about this too. Leaving us with absolutely no tools would certainly be a huge threat, a huge challenge to us in Northern Ireland, and it's something I do want to thank colleagues for. But we'll continue to work on it. I have a meeting, as I say, with Commissioner Almunia, I think at the end of December, and we will make that case very clearly to him. One of the other challenges, and Peter has referred to it, is, Wilfred referred to it as regulation. And today, when I speak in my speech, I'm going to talk a little bit about business regulation, because I know it's a huge issue, particularly for small businesses and indeed medium-sized businesses as well. And often it is the case, and when I was solicitor, I seen this happening a lot, when companies faced a claim from an employee. It was often the case that they bought that claim off rather than waste their time and energy and further money on fighting the case. So the employee would be bought off, even though the case was completely vexatious, just to save time and money. And that's wrong, and that should not be happening. And we should be looking at ways of dealing with those vexatious claims. And it's a point we made with Stephen Farry recently when we had a meeting with him about business regulation and about employees. And I know Alistair Ross has been following that very closely in relation to employer regulations. And it is the case, however, that we do need regulations of some type, and what I'll say later on is that we're not the party of no regulation, but we are the party of smart regulation, and I think we need to develop that further, hopefully in conjunction with business bodies, so that we can develop that further. But we will need to work with Stephen Farry and others in the executive to make sure that we can deliver on that issue. Peter mentioned gas, and we had I'll not say, Robin, an enlightening debate the other day in the Assembly. I think there certainly was more heat than light on that occasion when we debated energy sources and what have you. But I do want to assure Peter and his colleagues that at present in the energy bill there is a duty on government to promote gas as a source of fuel. I'm under a little bit of pressure to remove that duty in the forthcoming energy bill, but I want to assure you that I will not be taking that duty out of the energy bill, because I do think there is still a lot to do in persuading people to switch to gas. And it was a point Gordon Dunn made to me in the Assembly: what more can we do to push people and to encourage people to take up gas? Because, as you know, I am very committed to bringing gas to the West, Peter, and it will happen. Actually, all of the activity in and around Fermanagh, hopefully next year, will bring a lot of the spotlight on Fermanagh, and hopefully will help us with our investment plans. But in any event, I do think that it is an issue of equality. If you look at the map of Northern Ireland and look at the gas infrastructure, there is a gaping hole in the west of the province, and it is something that I personally am very much committed to. So I've talked a little bit about the challenges. I wanted also to touch on some of our greatest, and it has been a year of challenges, there's no doubt about it, but also a year of opportunities, and a lot of those opportunities have come about through tourism. And we've had a very good year in relation to our campaign of NI 2012, Our Time, Our Place. Wilson's from David Simpson will know this company very well, came up to me the other day, and they have a huge articulated lorry now which says our time, our place, our spuds, which I thought was a tremendous piece of work. And I've been very encouraged by the way in which people from right across Northern Ireland have taken to the theme of our time, our place. And civic pride has been given a huge boost in relation to this year. And that's what it was all about. It was, yes, to attract more visitors to Northern Ireland, but it was also for Northern Ireland people to have a sense of pride in the place where they live. And I think we have achieved that. But there's, if economic development is all about the tools that we have, tourism is all about the product and service that we have. And product is very important, and that's why we invested so much in the Titanic and indeed in the Giant's Causeway Visitor Centre, and why we continue to invest in other places right around Northern Ireland. So for next year, the UK City of Culture, the World Police and Fire Games are going to be tremendous opportunities for us. Yes, there are going to be challenges as well, but I think the opportunities are tremendous for us, and I look forward to taking them up. Exports, it's something that of course I talk about a lot because as a small open economy we need to export, and we need to continue to export and grow the exports, particularly to new and emerging markets. And I know that that's a challenge, particularly for small businesses. When we talk about China, and Peter was talking about the scale of the place is just incredible when we think that in tourist terms 100 million tourists will leave China to go right across the world by 2020. That's a huge figure, and it gives you a sense of the scale of the place. But it's a bit like an elephant. You take it in small chunks. And I believe that there is a small chunk of China waiting for us to eat. And the challenge for us, of course, is in and around culture and language, export licenses. But, you know, that's the challenge that I think we should face and try to take on. We now have the Confucius Institute here in Northern Ireland, and I'm very much looking forward to the work that they're going to do right across Northern Ireland. They're going to have hubs right across Northern Ireland, and that will give people the chance and the opportunity to try and understand the culture and the language and to move forward on that basis. So exporting is a challenge, but it's a huge opportunity for us in Northern Ireland. And when I listened to Simon Coveney yesterday talk about the huge opportunities for the agri-food sector alone, and the way in which food production has to increase by a huge amount to feed those people right across the world. I think for us, we should be stepping up to the mark and taking that on. And I did want to finish on a positive note, and of course we've mentioned the G8, and I think, you know, what a way to highlight the DUP conference that to have the G8 summit announced a couple of days before it. It is a great endorsement of everything that I'm proud of in Northern Ireland. It's about its people, it's about its beauty, it's about the fact that we, when people come, will welcome them wholeheartedly and deal with them in the most professional way that we possibly can. And I just, if you'd have said to me 5 years ago, Northern Ireland's going to host the G8 summit, I would have said, way on. But I don't think we'll be saying that now. It's a great endorsement, not just of Fermanagh, which of course it is, but also of Northern Ireland. And I do think the Prime Minister has made a very good decision, a very strong decision, and we will support him to deliver on that decision. I'm very proud of the place from where I come. I know you all are very proud of Northern Ireland as well. There are many threats, there are many challenges out there for us, but there are huge opportunities in the next year, and I look forward to taking those opportunities and working in conjunction with you all in this room. Thank you very much.